Well, I think one of the great things about this record is that it's not just a memorial to Les Paul, because each one of these songs, although there are songs that Les Paul and Mary Ford did, there are certainly many songs that were taken on and brought in and recorded and sung in the style of Les Paul, which makes it so interesting. And one of those songs that I find so intriguing is the Mae West song, sung from, what was the name of the movie?
Klondike Annie or something
yes,
like that.
it is something like Klondike, and it was the name of the song is Occidental. What's the exact title?
I guess the real title is "I'm an Occidental Woman in an Oriental Mood for Love." We just shortened it to Occidental Woman, but it seems to grab everybody. And now that is a thing that's really special. It's a tune it really is a blues tune. I mean, it's got more changes than a 1/4/5 blues, but it is a blues tune in vibe and feeling, and she's singing about, an oriental mood and the Buddha moon above, and those things, like the imagery in that song. And there's only one verse. Sonny sang it 3 times and changed it each time. But there's only one verse, and it's so good you don't mind hearing it over and over. It's just got a feeling to it that, not many people write today. In fact, I was thinking today about, there's never been another song like that, an Oriental blues, and then I thought of Tom Waits' Shore Leave.
Ah, yes.
Which is, he goes to Singapore, and he goes out and meets these people out on his shore leave, and drinks Singapore slings with them and gets in trouble and whatever, and misses his woman. And anyway, Tom Waits could appreciate this album. In fact, I'm going to send him a copy.
Absolutely, and the classic footage of Mae West actually doing from the movie is actually, if you go on YouTube, you can see the original clip of her, and it's just fascinating to see.
It is really fascinating, and I was so fascinated by the song that I couldn't record it without a gong. So I had my friend, the great drummer Marty Richards, teaches at a school that has a gong. So I gave him a little digital recorder, and he went to school and he hit the gong 4 times, gave me 4 different sounds with it. Hit it 4 different ways, and brought it back to me, and I put it on my machine here, and that's the intro and the outro of the song is the gong, and it just can't exist without a gong. In fact, I've taken the gong track and put it on a CD, so when I play it live, I can actually put it on a ghetto blaster and hit it, and that'll be the first sound. I just can't play that song without a gong.
Well, that's just part of the fun of this record, and certainly to listen to this record, as well as even just hearing about how this music is made, the first thing I want to do is get a nice cocktail with an umbrella on it.
We're going to have to do that pretty soon. Let me show you a few of the guitars that I used on here. Of course, when it comes to Les Pauls, I have 2. This is my main Les Paul these days, which is a 57 reissue that I've kind of hot rodded a bit and tried a lot of different pickups till I got the right combination. And this is the predominant guitar on a lot of the tunes. And then I have over here another Les Paul 56 reissue that has the P90s in it. And I actually put Lindy Fralin for guitar heads out there. Lindy Fralin has these hum canceling P90s that I put in here for the recording because I was having problems with 60 cycle hum, which I don't know how Les avoided that, but could be just electricity in my house. And this is like the early Les Pauls that we used for his recordings. I used this on Bye Bye Blues, so I would really try to get as close as possible to his sound.
All right, Duke, what do you have there that does not look like a Les Paul?
This, I use this on Occidental Woman. It's kind of buried in the back, but if you listen close, you'll hear it. This is a 1930s Maybell tenor banjo. And, in early jazz, before they used guitar, because banjo had so much more volume, tenor banjo, 4-string banjo, was used as a rhythm instrument. And I have to admit, I cheat with it. I have it tuned like the top 4 strings of a guitar, but that this is on the Occidental Woman. To get that authentic. I'm not much of a banjo player. But anyway, that's one of the instruments.
And what do we have here? It looks like a priceless artifact from...
This is a very cool instrument. In fact, it's one of my favorite guitars. This is a 1930s K Deluxe. It's an arch-topped guitar with a round sound hole, and I believe it's entirely made out of birch, I think. Not positive, but it seems to have that tone. And it's got a sound that almost mimics an old cheap National resonator. It's got a very unique sound, like what we used on for the intro to the guitar part on Occidental Woman. It has a very bright and unique kind of weird woody tone. And this guitar, for guitar aficionados, has a neck that you can take off. If you look close at this, the neck has this this piece that has like a tongue and groove thing in it, and it fits to this piece to the body, and then inside there's a wing nut. You tighten it with a wing nut, and you can raise or lower the height of the neck, which will give you a different sound, more volume. So it's a very unique thing, and actually this technique of guitar making really makes a lot of sense, and somebody should try doing this again today. This is one of my favorite instruments.
So, Duke, I have a question for you. How does recording a solo live differ from you approaching it as you're recording on a record, per se? How does your approach to playing live, I should say, as different from you recording a solo on record?
Well, at different parts of my career, there were different ways I approached it. Now, I try to get something live all the time. And almost always, my best takes at solos are my first or second try. Occasionally my third. Once I start developing an idea, then it becomes much too thought out. And so most of the solos on this record really are spontaneous, and they are on all my records now. You know, I'll do a spontaneous solo, and there may be a part that's a little out of time or something that I don't like, a little thing that I'd rather fix a real solo if there was one little thing off than go over things for hours and hours and hours, which I used to do. And I realized that since I gave up that, trying to make perfect solos and build them by doing multiple takes and putting things together, it appears to me that people pick up on the live vibe of doing a solo. I mean, I'm not saying I don't overdub, but when I do, I try to make it live. I try to make it, you know, I just go for it. And occasionally that doesn't work, but usually it does. And sometimes if I don't get a solo on the first few takes on the first day, then I'll come back again and do it another day, which on this album I did a few times where I tried things and I just wasn't getting the feeling, and I could have spent hours laboring over a solo and getting something technically perfect, but I prefer to just come back fresh and just go for it, hit it.
If you're ever feeling somewhat stale putting a solo down on a record, what is the first thing you try to do? Change the guitar? Change the atmosphere of the room? What would be some idea, some way of getting
First
a fresher
thing I would
approach?
do would try it on a different instrument, in a different sound, because that I am affected by sound. If that doesn't work, I have a drink.
Or buy a new guitar.
Or buy a new, well, I'm trying to curb that. Trying to curb that habit. I'm getting a little old for that.